Well, good morning and welcome back from the weekend and welcome into the Real Monica Adams Show. I'm your host, Monica Adams, and look at the set. We have to thank our team, Michelle and Kelsey and Ashlyn. They all got this ready for 4th of July week. Are you ready for it? We're going to talk about some of the festivities that will be in and around our area where you can go and check them all out this week. And maybe you're having your own celebration. If you are, please be careful. I know the kids are always wanting to do the sparklers, but this is when the hospital rooms are loaded up. ER rooms are loaded up and they see, I can tell you firsthand, my cousin, I was just telling Zach, our director, my cousin, when we were young and I was in grade school, she was holding a Roman candle. It backfired and burned her chest. So if you don't think it can happen to you, there's that firsthand experience that I watched, horrific. And that's what can go wrong. So leave it to the professionals. That's what we say year in and year out. Again, 4th of July week and a lot of things planned. I'm seeing people already put up chairs in Webster Groves to try to line up already on the parade course. Can you believe that? Yes, that's when you know they're serious. Well, we're hoping we have good weather for it. Might be sticky, might be hot. Well, I'm not the one that's going to deliver it to you. I'm going to leave the bad news about 4th of July to our aspiring meteorologist before we get to news you can use. And the skincare questions of the day was we were introducing Dr. Sarah Jensen from Regional Dermatology. That'll be our Ask the Doctor Medical Monday this hour. But first, let's start off with What the Weather.
Alrighty, welcome back into this new more weather forecast video. This one has been looking significant for a couple of days. So
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Monica.
Finally.
Nice to be here.
All right, and there he is. Good morning. Welcome back from the weekend.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Did you have a good weekend?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Yeah, Beckett and I were talking yesterday. I said, did you do anything fun? And you said,
Not really.
really. Well, you know, we walked out the door this morning and I actually changed what I was going to wear because it felt chilly. I can't believe we're saying this, but some people in the upper 50s this morning, right?
Yes, across the area, around 60, the upper 50s, lower 60s this morning, which definitely is below average for this time of the year.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. And I wish, Beckett, that this was how the weather was going to be on the actual holiday, but that's not going to be the case. So let you deliver the bad news for what we have coming up on the holiday.
Yeah, so look outside the door today. This is at the Boathouse in Forest Park right now. Current conditions, we got 9-mile-per-hour winds coming in from the east. That should say actually mostly sunny skies and a temperature of around 61. Again, a little bit chilly out there, but we're going to warm up still. Our high today is definitely going to be a couple of degrees below average. So talking about our high, looking at our weather schedule today, again this morning, 61 degrees, mostly sunny skies. Then going into this afternoon, 82 degrees as our high, which is going to feel very nice compared to what we've been dealing with these last couple of weeks with this above average heat. This is going to be below average with mostly cloudy skies there this afternoon. And then we're looking at a severe weather threat as we go into Wednesday, the day before 4th of July, and then also probably a severe weather threat for Thursday. We don't have a map out from the Storm Prediction Center yet for Thursday, but for Wednesday we do, with a marginal risk, which is the lowest of the risks that could get upgraded to a slight risk, 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. So we'll be watching for some scattered severe storms as we go into Wednesday and also into Thursday. Now looking at the 7-day outlook today, 82 degrees again as our high today, mostly cloudy skies. We warm up tomorrow with those sunny skies there for our Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday there's going to be rain around with thunderstorms possible. And again, of course, Thursday is going to be our 4th of July, and unfortunately, I know you guys don't want to hear this, but we are likely going to have rain pretty much all day on 4th of July with a high of around 89, 88 for Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday will be warming back up into the 90s, but warming up as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, have to watch those rain chances as we head towards the 4th of July.
All right, Becca, thank you so much again for all of you that are making your plans. We'll check in a little bit later on this week, and we'll see if maybe Becca wants to come back in closer to the holiday. Becca, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You're welcome. You too.
All right, everybody, news you can use. We've got some national and we've got some local news as well. Let's kick things off, first of all, having to do with a hurricane. And if any of you are traveling this week and you are, or your family is by chance, heading into these areas, just a heads up, Hurricane Beryl closing in on the southeastern Caribbean, and government officials late yesterday pleaded with people to take shelter from this dangerous Category 3 storm expected to make landfall in the Windward Islands this morning. Hurricane warnings in effect for Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, Tobago, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. This is a very dangerous situation. According to the U.S. National Hurricane Center in Miami, they said it is forecast to bring life-threatening winds and storm surge. This is a very busy travel week, whether you are heading off for a vacation or you know someone that is. Obviously, long lines expected at the airport as we go to the roads. Gas prices are going to be up as you go to the gas pump. We'll talk about a gas tax hike in Illinois coming up in just a second. From a national standpoint, not from weather, but all eyes on the Supreme Court as we're talking about the release in the ruling of a case involving whether former President Trump is immune from prosecution for his attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election. The case is the most high profile of the court's session, being released on the final day before the Supreme Court justices go on summer recess. So we'll be following that for you as well. I want you to take a look at this next picture we're going to show you from the Richmond Heights Police Department. You may have gotten alert to this, an endangered silver advisory for this missing adult. It occurred at 8825 Eager Road in Richmond Heights at 5:30 p.m. on June 30th. The endangered silver advisory missing adult is Ariel Gonzalez, Hispanic male, age 81, height 6'1", 200 pounds, gray hair, brown eyes, a fair complexion, as you can see, wearing glasses, a black marine ball cap, gray and white speckled button-up shirt, and khaki shorts. His medical condition diagnosed as dementia, and he was seen leaving the senior living facility on foot. His direction of travel and destination, unfortunately, is unknown. Okay, I mentioned a lot of you might be traveling, so a heads up as you go to the pumps. Gas prices have been creeping back up on the Missouri side and the Illinois side. The state's motor fuel tax goes up today. The gas tax will rise by 2 cents to 47 cents a gallon. That's the second highest in the nation, and it will cost drivers $184 more per year to buy gas than it did, unfortunately, in 2019. All right, have you ever seen this? When I was at Fox 2, it actually came and we were able to see this massive potato come driving into our parking lot. Take a look at this. The world's largest ketchup bottle festival in Collinsville, Illinois, as the potato reaches to the ketchup bottle. Will they be able to touch? Will the ketchup be able to tilt and be able to take care of the potato and the French fries? A potato this size would take 10,000 years to grow. It would take 2 years to bake, and it would make close to 1.5 million French fries. Now, it has stopped in Collinsville back in 2013, 14, 16, 18. I think this is the 5th time that it's actually coming. But before it gets to Collinsville, on July 3rd, it will be at a Schnucks in St. Louis. They'll be at America's Birthday 4th of July celebration. And then it goes to Collinsville on July 6th, as you see there, from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. It's quite a sight, by the way, if you are getting an opportunity to go there this weekend. Okay, we talked about 4th of July festivities, and maybe you're going to go to one in your municipality. I'm going to give you a little rundown of these, and then you can also add in the comments of one that you might have. But we're all excited to see the fireworks, are we not? O'Fallon's Heritage and Freedom Fest Parade. They have that on the 4th of July kicking off at 9:30. The 4th of July celebrations in Webster Groves, and they'll start with a children's pet parade on the 3rd. Celebrate St. Louis fireworks at the Gateway Arch. 9:40 p.m. is when the fireworks go off downtown. The Electric Sky at City Museum has something going on for the 4th of July from 7 to 11. Ferguson 4th of July celebration, that's at January Wabash Park. The Eureka Independence Day celebration. Kirkwood has their Freedom Fest, and then the Gateway Arch fireworks cruise, as well as Six Flags, the Coca-Cola July 4th celebration, and that'll be actually from Thursday the 4th to Saturday the 6th. All right, before we get into our Medical Monday Ask the Doctor, this is a viral video that's been going around about a mama skunk and her baby skunks. Look at them. Aren't they cute? They've gone viral on social media after sheriffs in Oregon released this video of them crossing the road. The deputies were on patrol and brought the police vehicle to a sudden stop so that the family of skunks could safely make it across the street. The video shows the officers avoided a stinky situation by patiently waiting as the mother skunk, who was huddled close to her little ones, ensured that they safely crossed the road. Yeah. I would let them go as long as they want to. All right, in baseball action, the Cardinals, they wrapped up a 4-game series with a 2-0 win against the Reds. They're actually off today, and then they'll be back against the Pirates tomorrow. That first pitch will be at 5:40. Before we get into our wrap-up, I want to tell you, Dreamgirls continues at the Muny through July 3rd. We had a chance to see it on Saturday. Well, at least some of it. If you were there with me, you know that they had a rain delay. We all huddled underneath the awnings. We went back out hoping that it would continue. It rained again. We went back underneath the awnings, came out for a third time as that woman right there, Tiffany Mann, who plays Effie. She was singing I Am Changing. Okay, halfway through they had to call it. I've never been, in all my years from a little girl on, I've never been where they had to actually cancel, but we were able to see the 2 iconic songs from Dreamgirls. I Am Changing, but when she did, in the first act, when she said, she started to sing, oh my gosh, why am I blanking? My neck hurts so bad today. I'm like, my husband gave me ibuprofen. Oh gosh, I cannot think. I can't think of the iconic song. Everybody help me since my neck is bothering me. What's the iconic song that Jennifer Hudson did? Todd's here with me. I can't hear in my ears. So if somebody wants to run in and tell me since my neck is killing me, I can't think. Yeah. Anyway, I Am Changing is what she did in the second act. In the first act, it is I Am Telling You. I just got it actually, just the beginning. She sings I Am Telling You. And I've never seen such a thunderous applause for anyone in all of my years going to the Muny. That woman nailed it. Tiffany, here's what I said. She put a roof on the Muny and then blew it right off. That is what took place on Saturday night. So please go and support the Muny and see her in the most incredible role I bet you she's ever performed. I mean, we all were like, you got to be kidding me, just standing and thunderous applause. But we all hated the fact that we didn't get a chance to see the rest. So my sister-in-law went last night. I'll have to ask her what she thought. Did any of you get a chance to go and see it? Yeah, everybody said, what a bummer. Never, ever did I have it wasn't a full-on cancellation because we saw some of it, but we didn't get a chance to see the rest of it. Dreamgirls, Jennifer Hudson, remember she got kicked off of American Idol, and then she goes on to be an EGOT winner. What does that mean? Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. That's right, Simon Cowell, in your face. The woman is an incredible artist, and she played Effie on the big screen. But wow, Tiffany, way to go. And then on Saturday, that was Saturday night. Friday night, we went and saw this guy, Gordon Ramsay. Yes, and he was the nicest guy. So I know everything you see on his shows and anything you think, and you think he's a mean guy. Nope, I walked the red carpet and went into Gordon Ramsay's newest restaurant. Jennifer, by the way, an incredible artist. All of her beautiful paintings are all throughout the Four Seasons. But Gordon Ramsay and Ramsay's Kitchen, it was the official grand opening on Friday night. So many people there, and the food blew me away. I know it's silly to say this, but it might be the best shrimp I've ever had in my life, and it was just shrimp cocktail. They had scallop crudo, they had lobster, they had Jim loved the steak tartare sandwiches. There's my hubby. They had tuna tartare tacos. They had like the green eggs out doing just hamburgers. Beautiful space, obviously, on the 8th floor of the Four Seasons. I want you all to go. They had tons and tons of reservations already for the soft opening. He said this was the biggest opening he's ever had of a Ramsay's Kitchen. And as I mentioned, not only was he just an absolute sweetheart, but the man smelled amazing. And he whispered something to me about what he was wearing. I wish I could understand what he said. I think it was like tea something. So I'm going to have to try to figure out what he wears so I can get that for my husband. Yeah, beautiful view. If you've never been on the top of the roof of the Four Seasons Hotel, gorgeous view. And that's what he was saying. And that's probably one of his favorite views of any of his restaurants on the Missouri and the Illinois side looking across. And that just reminded me of something. The Eads Bridge, celebrating 150 years, by the way. Before the Eads Bridge was there, it was ferries that had to take people across. So congratulations for us having yet another means of transportation between our two states. Now you're all up to date. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we have our official introduction. Some of you may have had a chance to see her on about a week or so ago, a couple weeks ago. And I know a lot of you were already tuning in saying that you wanted to make an appointment with her. I know one of our girls that watches on a regular basis is going to see her tomorrow. And I think there's a couple others that we're wanting to make an appointment with her as well. So Dr. Sarah Jensen, we can't wait to officially welcome her to the show with Regional Dermatology. She'll be in the blue chair when we return.
The world needs to be more positive.
Yep.
You know, the world, and I'm spreading positivity with my air fresheners. So,
You and I both,
yes.
sir.
Sadly, I wasn't aware of the Monica Adams show until recently, and was I missing out?
I'm definitely going to turn this on in the mornings on our TV.
She's helping people to understand their value. She's helping women to transform their lives.
From the minute that we walked in, I felt just really comfortable and at home here.
You are always a ray of sunshine and positivity.
Thank you for what you do. I love this whole thing that you're doing.
It's good news. It's great news. It's uplifting and empowering.
But you were engaged, and I love that. So thank you so much.
Welcome back. And again, if you're just tuning in, welcome to the Real Monica Adams Show. We're thrilled to have you. I'm looking at the comments, and somebody just said they Googled what Gordon Ramsay wears, and it's Creed, so it wasn't tea. Creed. All right, I'm buying that for my husband because he smelled incredible for sure. Everybody, I hope you're having a great start to your day. A couple weeks ago, you had a chance to meet this beautiful woman, just as a little introduction, and now we are officially kicking off our Medical Monday with her, Dr. Sarah Jensen from Regional Dermatology. Welcome.
Thank you for having me again.
Again, yes, pleased to have you. And I tell you what, there are so many people that have been so excited about you joining us and asking questions. And Julie, actually, who just commented, said, I can't wait to see her tomorrow. So she's coming in to see you tomorrow.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Yep. And then there's a couple others that said, I want to get in as well. So let's start with, for those that you didn't get a chance to see her a couple of weeks ago, you were or have been in the Festus area for the last 14 years, right?
Yes.
And then you just opened Chesterfield how long ago?
Just the past few months. I think in February was the real opening.
Yeah. So there's a couple of locations that we'll put up on the screen for you throughout the show of how you can make an appointment with her and then ask your questions. A lot of you started off wanting to kick off the questions before we even get into the topics that we have chosen. And one of them, we'll start with Chris, who wrote into us. Chris was saying right now there's crazy mosquitoes and ticks and all this different stuff, whether you're just walking, and a lot of people getting out and enjoying a beautiful walk this morning, going hiking, etc. Chris wanted to know what the best insect repellent would be for our skin, and what would that be?
Well, he asked specifically for his face and neck and something that's safe, and that's a tough one because, you know, I've looked at a lot of different insect repellents, especially after I had children. I wanted to do something that's much safer. You can look at those. They're usually oils like soybean oil, peppermint oil. The unfortunate thing is you have to reapply those every hour, and it really just makes the skin kind of more slick so that the mosquitoes and ticks can't attach. So honestly, the products that have DEET in them, although no one really wants that kind of chemical on their skin, really do work better. I try to just spray the clothing more than anything, just so that at least I have that and not so much on my skin.
Okay.
But and then at night I'm sure to wash it off because I wouldn't want that on the sheets.
Right. Absolutely. And there's some pictures again for you. So we're looking to repel those mosquitoes, right? The biting flies, the chiggers, the deer flies, ticks, gnats, fleas, all of that. My husband always says, Dr. Sarah, that he thinks that they're all drawn to me because I have perfume on. So when we're out walking, things like that, or hiking, should we leave like lotions and oils and good smelling things off of us?
I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think there's
You're wrong, Jim.
probably a genetic component to that. It could be the pheromones or hormones that we give off. I don't know exactly, but I think some people use Skin So Soft, which is like an Avon product that has a scent.
Used to talk about that.
And then, and again, like the peppermint oil, there's different types of oils that can give off those scents. So I think they are a little bit of a repellent too.
Okay.
That's citronella too. I mean, we have citronella plants in our backyard and lavender, and I was just reading that those, just having the plants in your area can help repel those insects.
Yeah, because we want to enjoy our time outside, but that just gets so annoying. So, Chris, that one was for you. Now, the next one we want to talk about has to do, and again, if you have any questions, please drop them in, and we will look at the comments and ask the doctor, the good doctor, your question. One that came in last week had to do with teen acne, right? We've all been through it, the most uncomfortable time of teenage life. What can be done? And then it kind of goes into that. The other question that someone had was scarring from acne from a long time ago. So let's just start with the teen acne. What can be done for them?
So there's lots of things that can be done. Normally we start with topical, like tretinoin, retinoids. You hear about those, like the cream form of Accutane or isotretinoin. Those are creams you can use just daily or every other day. Now they can be a little bit drying, so we sort of ramp people up with them and have them use moisturizers, try to avoid a lot of the toners and astringents or scrubs. Just go to real basic products. And you can get that over the counter now, like Adapalene or Differin is over the counter. So I can start with that if they're just asking for advice for their teen at home. But we do prescriptions in the office, and then we can move to like more antibiotics, excuse me, or like isotretinoin. There's different products out there that a prescription that we can use as well.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, again, this is Dr. Sarah Jensen, Regional Dermatology. We're talking about anything to do with skincare. We'll talk about what is dermatology in just a second, but these are the questions that you had straight out of the gate. My question always was, why is one person more prone to a little bit of acne and then really bad scarring acne? Is it something within us genetically?
It's probably multifactorial. I think that definitely genetics play a role, hormones, nutrition, sometimes exercise, and then sometimes there's bacterial component too. And you mentioned scarring too.
Yes.
I mean, I try to, really implement early treatment because I tell them it's so much easier and cheaper to prevent the acne scarring than it is to treat it down the road.
Right.
There are modalities, there's lasers and such, but I think if you get there early on, it's much easier.
But if somebody has scarring from, let's say they're 30, 40, 50 years old now, and they had really bad acne when they were younger, is there anything that can be done?
Yeah, there are products that are used, they're lasers, and they can cause sort of like micro injuries to the skin and build collagen back.
Okay.
So those can be done. And sometimes chemical peels and different in-office procedures.
And is that something that has to be done over several treatments?
Yes, it's
About
usually
how many?
not.
Well, I guess it depends on the
yeah,
scarring, right?
It depends on the scarring and also the color of the skin, because once you get into darker colors of skin, you can have a little bit more risk with that. So you have to really know what you're doing and who you're seeing.
So again, I know, and I don't know if she's on, but Jillian, I think that was your question. If you need anything else to be, elaborate on that, please let me know. Skin so soft works great, somebody said. Oh, okay. So there you go. We're going back to what we were talking about with regards to insect repellent. I'm going to be looking through here, but let's do this because Dr. Sarah was interviewed by a journalist, and they started off and said, well, what is a dermatologist?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and start with Dermatology 101.
Yes, some people don't know exactly what we offer, and we offer so much. That's why I like the field as much as I do. We see all ages of patients, infants to geriatric. We do the basic skin checks, full skin check for your moles to look for skin cancer or changing lesions. We do surgery to remove those lesions, whether they're cancerous or you just don't like them there. Yeah. We see all sorts of rheumatologic diseases like autoimmune, like lupus, scleroderma. There's all these big names, and we overlap with rheumatology quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Hair loss is a big one. I used to kind of focus in hair loss at the university setting, so that was my niche area. And since I did that, I still get a lot of referrals from even dermatologists who kind of don't deal with that as much. There's lots of options for both men and women. We see a lot of women with hair loss because men expect to lose their hair and they're happy if they don't. Women never expect to sort of have hair thinning, and a lot of them do. It's just something we don't really talk about, especially postmenopausal. So we see quite a bit itch, dry skin, and then there's the warts, acne, the basic things that we see.
Yep. Eczema?
Eczema we see, definitely. And that's a big component of itch, so that can overlap too.
Right.
Allergic contact rashes, even sunburns. I'll have people come in and we'll give them high-dose vitamin D to try to help their sunburns. So,
well, let's talk about that. And I think somebody wanted to know about rosacea as well.
Rosacea, acne, that's very, very common, especially in this community, I think. I'm an Irish, English background.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll come back to rosacea for you in just a second because somebody was asking about that. So sunburns. Does our skin pigmentation and everything, does it change as we get older? Because a lot of people are like, I had no problem. I was always tanning. I could go out, and then all of a sudden now I get sun poisoning.
You can have, two different things. I think I was reading recently that menopausal women and older men can have changes in their melanin, so they don't tan as readily, so they can burn, or they just don't, have the color as much.
That you don't want right there.
Yeah.
That's
that looks
dangerous.
Like they need some aloe vera and some vitamin D. There's studies that show you can take like 50 to 200,000 units of vitamin D with a one-time dose after a sunburn. I've tried that on my teenagers when they've had a little too much.
And that helps?
It has helped.
For pain?
Yeah, it has helped, yeah.
If it's really, really painful, what should we put on?
I think aloe vera, taking ibuprofen. Some people do a little prednisone if you have it, so that can help.
And I know the biggest thing that we stress all the time is make sure that you have your sunscreen on. And people need to really respect the sun. You know, it's one thing to be out in it here, put your sunscreen on, but then all of a sudden, I just talked about people going on vacations right now, and then they're going to all these beautiful resorts, and the sun is so much more damaging in certain areas, right?
It is. And you had asked about rashes also as we get older. I think you don't even have to be much older. In your 20s and 30s and beyond, you can get this condition that I even had on my honeymoon, which is called polymorphous light eruption. It's kind of like when you've kind of been holed up in St. Louis or the Midwest in the wintertime, you go to some, sunny place, and all of a sudden you get a rash to the sun.
Yes.
So luckily I was in my residency and I could identify it and I knew what I was going through, but it didn't make for a very pleasant honeymoon.
No, I had it. We go to Cabo about every other year, and it was, 5-6 years ago. All of a sudden I was like, what is this? I've never had this before. I'm like, oh, I'm getting old. My skin's changing.
It didn't matter about the age, trust me. So, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to answer the question about rosacea because I have somebody that wants to know, what can I do? They said it's so frustrating and, sometimes makes them embarrassed, right? And so then we start dealing with the mental health side, right? And you're trying to hide yourself. So the question, the whole forum is open to you. Ask the doctor. That's what she's here for. Dr. Sarah Jensen, again, with Regional Dermatology. And if you want to make an appointment, let's go ahead and put on the screen where you can go, whether it is for the Festus location or Chesterfield. 2 different numbers there for you, regionaldermatology.com. Jot those down and make your appointment. We'll find out how long it takes to get in for an appointment because a lot of people were like, I want to get in, but I thought I couldn't get in for like 6 to 8 months. That is not the case. There's the locations on the screen. I'll leave them up for you for just a second, and then we'll take a quick break. Any questions you have, the floor is open to you. Just go ahead and type them in for us, all right? We'll be back with more with Dr. Sarah Jensen and Regional Dermatology when we return. We need women to lift women up.
Let's do that.
Being on Monica's show, it was like one of the best interviews I've ever had.
Monica's very real, and she really cares about people.
She's changing lives.
Changing lives.
I think this is just really what people want to see.
Giving back so much to the community, and I really appreciate it.
Today, Monica was extraordinarily real, not only with me, but with her viewers and her listeners.
Made the interview process like talking to a friend.
How are you doing? Haven't seen you in a few weeks.
Hey. You're close.
Monica. Whoa.
So go out in this world and be anything you want to be. But before you do that, first, be kind.
Oh, doesn't that look gorgeous? I was in ours yesterday. It is just the most refreshing thing to pop into. It is actually, our backyard has a pool put in by Just Pools on the West Outer Road in Arnold. If you want pool or spa, they have both. They are the spa and pool specialist in Arnold. You can have pools, you can have the entire backyard oasis if you want, because as you can see from the shots that we took from Just Pools, not only can they put in an in-ground or an above-ground pool, but they've got umbrellas for you. They've got the entire kitchen area if you want to have a brand new stove, yes, like a pizza oven out by your pool. I mean, everybody, you dream it up and they can do it. Authorized Pentair They also have, which you definitely need, the chemicals to keep your pool looking gorgeous. And then, to make it easy on you, have one of those automatic pool cleaners. Just let it do its thing. Just Pools, pool and spa specialist at 3987 West Outer Road in Arnold, 636-464-7110. Madonna, thank you so much. We love having you as part of our show. Okay, as you sit around by the pool, it's important to keep applying and reapplying that sunscreen. It's very important. And we're talking about skincare today with Dr. Sarah Jensen with Regional Dermatology. As we went into the break, I was mentioning rosacea. It was one question that some of you had, and there's a lot more coming in that we'll get to in just a second. Okay, so from a rosacea standpoint, I know it can be something that makes people so embarrassed, right? And they're trying to cover it up, or I've heard some people be so embarrassed by it, they're like, I don't even want to go out of the house anymore. So what can be done, and what's like the first step that they need to do?
Well, there's different types of rosacea. So you have the real common flushing and blushing. Someone might eat or drink something and then all of a sudden just be so bright red. That can be very embarrassing for patients. I can tell you, I developed that as I hit menopause. All of a sudden, I had this flush, and I could really identify with patients. Yeah, and then there's the acne that can form as well. You get into where you're dealing with wrinkles and acne at the same time, which doesn't seem fair.
No.
And then men can develop the rhinophyma, the kind of bulbous nose that really can be difficult because they can't even get the oxygen to breathe. And so there are different opportunities. You could do an oral antibiotic if you're getting the acne forming. There are creams that can reduce the redness. Sunblock is key for rosacea. You have to wear that every single day.
Okay.
And there are even some pills to help with the flushing. So there's a variety of things we can do.
So yeah, I was just talking, my godchild was over yesterday and her friend, and they're in their 13, 14 age period, and they're talking about periods, right, just starting. And I look at them and I go, so what time? I go, what age were you when you started? What age were you when you started? I'm like, well, get ready, because just as you get out of that, then you go into perimenopause and menopause. And they're like, what? And I go, it never ends for women. And they're like, that doesn't seem fair, Aunt Monica. I'm like, it isn't. But my husband, God love him, always says that we are the stronger sex. He's like, I don't think we could deal with it. And I'm like, good man. Right?
Yeah, he's right there. He was right there.
Right. Okay, so Lindsay, by the way, is on. And Lindsay, we want to thank you for introducing the two of us. So she said, if you talk sunscreens today, which brands do you recommend? I liked your recommendation for face and forearms. I forget about my arms, and I'm sleeveless most days. She said, I love zinc-based sunscreen as well. Do you sell them at your practice?
I do. We carry Elta products. I just grew up with them in residency, and I've grown to love them. They have something for everyone. It's something that stays on at the lake, but also something very lightweight for the face. So there's a wide variety in between. I do like the La Roche-Posay when you can get those at a CVS. And then there's one called Color Science, which is a kind of a brush on that's more of like a powder. So some people like that if they don't like the consistency of a cream on their face. Okay. I do prefer creams over sprays.
And why?
I just find that the sprays often don't have zinc or titanium. A few do. You can see them, kind of just shed when you head the water. You can see it in that layer in your pool. And so I think the creams just give more consistency and more coverage.
And we talked a couple weeks ago, and so I'll go ahead and bring the question back up again, how often we should be reapplying.
Well, I told you probably every 2 hours, but then I thought about that. That's only if you're not getting in the water, sweating, exercising. I would reapply after those,
as soon as you're getting in the water, coming back out?
Yeah, when you're coming back out. Now, sometimes there are sunblocks that I can still see on me after I've gotten out of the water.
So then you figure
real
you're
mineral
fine.
Based, yeah.
Okay.
That would be like the Elta Active, but it stays on in the shower through the next day. So some people don't love that look.
Get off of my skin, right? Okay. So we were talking about thinning hair earlier. I've always had fine hair, Linda says, and not very thick, but now it's worse. I take biotin and collagen and use an organic shampoo. I think it's helping, but it's a slow go. So what would you do for thinning hair?
What would I add to that?
Yes.
Since she's on biotin, a lot of people don't know that can interfere with some lab tests that we do check. We check a thyroid, we check vitamin D. And so I would stop the biotin at that point and do a couple labs on her.
Okay.
There are topical medicines like the Rogaine, minoxidil you'll see over the counter, but we write for those at much higher strengths and compound them, these old-fashioned pharmacies that will mix it all together for you.
Okay.
With other products. And so then there's oral medications. You can take a minoxidil, which is actually a blood pressure medicine, has had a comeback, and we take it tiny doses daily. so there's other varieties too. And men have Propecia they can use, or if you're a postmenopausal woman, you can use Propecia. So there's a lot to do for hair loss now.
Okay, and I know it just gets frustrating. And you mentioned earlier, it's kind of, society expects guys to start to lose their hair. They don't want to, but then they start, but we know them to be bald. Women, this is it for us. And it's like, oh my gosh, what can we do as you start to age and you're like, everything's changing on me. Yeah. I get it. If you're just tuning in, once again, let me reintroduce my guest, Dr. Sarah Jensen with Regional Dermatology, and it is wide open for you to ask whatever you'd like. We've got a ton of topics. You are incredible, by the way. I think you're my favorite guest ever on a Medical Monday because you have loaded me up for the next several weeks. I was like, look at you. She's very, very prepared. This can be your doctor. Somebody said that you are the best dermatologist ever. I have referred so many family members to her. She is wonderful. And then, let me go back. She is really good at what she does and has a great staff. That's who I see. Okay, so there you go. This can be your doctor. Let me ask this as I'm going through these questions. How long is it for someone to have to wait to get into you?
Honestly, since I've opened the new practice, I think people can get in as early as next week.
Hello,
Yeah.
There you go. And so I think Julie says she's going Wednesday to the Chesterfield location. That was the thing, and I was like, what? Is it really that bad out there?
It is really that
6
bad.
to 9 months?
It can be, yes.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case here. So a lot of you that have been needing and wanting to get into a dermatologist, this is why we've brought her on. And there's a look for you, by the way, at her beautiful locations. Regional Dermatology, again, in Festus and in Chesterfield. So you can call the numbers that we have put on the screen and look at the addresses. And there you go. There's their hours as well, so that you can set up your own appointment and get in. Okay, somebody wanted to know about eczema. What is your approach that doesn't respond to
triamcinolone?
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
You say it.
That's another area. There's been a lot of FDA-approved medicines coming out for eczema, so it's a really exciting time for both eczema and psoriasis. Psoriasis, I've always had kind of like a lot of different medicines, and eczema's kind of never had a lot of options. But now there's different oral medications. There's different topical creams you can use. So there is a wide variety now that wasn't available in the past few years for eczema. And it also depends on the age of the patient. If it's a child versus someone who has an adult, who maybe could tolerate more medications.
Okay. And that, by the way, came from Dr. Neary. And thank you for saying that Dr. Neary is the chiropractor that we have had on in the past, and he asked me ice or heat, and I know some of you laughed at that because we've had that back and forth. I had an ice pack on as I drove to work this morning. It is killing me, though. I'm supposed to see him on Friday. I think I need to get in sooner because, yes, everybody, if you think I'm turning a little weird, it is because I have the worst neck pain I've had in weeks, so bear with me on this. Rich says, what do you say to people who believe that sunscreen is actually worse for your skin in the long run?
I think we know the results of excess radiation to the skin. I do prefer to use the mineral based because I do think they're safer, the zinc or titanium, as opposed to the chemical sunblocks. And if you're really concerned, you can wear like a sun shirt, just physical protection,
Those
a
do
wide
work.
rim hat. They can be very effective. Yeah, I use those over my.
I think a lot of
swimsuit.
times people thought it was just a marketing thing, and so they really do.
Oh yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think like a lot of guys that go fishing, I've seen those, and I'm like, is this really helping them? Well, there you go. Yeah. That's good to know. I've got Kelsey in here, by the way. She's being kind of my field producer here, stage director. And do you like these questions? Do you have a question? Think about it. She's like, don't put me on the spot here. I've had my labs, my D, and as low at times, but now good. I also take D vitamins. Thyroid is good. Oh, she's talking about her hair thinning.
Hair loss,
yes.
Yeah. And I like the D, 60 or above. I know the range will say 30 to 100 something, but we all like it 60 or above in integrative dermatology.
And then Julie said, can she repeat the lotions that you can get at CVS?
Oh, that's La Roche-Posay. It's French, and I don't know how to spell that, but La Roche-Posay is
I wonder if this is, so Lindsay actually wrote L-A and then another R-O-C-H-E and then P-O-S-A-Y.
Yeah, thank you,
Is
Lindsay.
that right?
Yeah.
La Roche-Posay. It's like the Champs-Élysées of lotions. Thank you, Lindsay. Oh, she said it's a great brand. I get it at Target. Okay, good job. Anybody else that has a question, again, for our doctor, we're talking about a lot of the things about dermatology. And so here's the thing. If someone has never been and thought, well, why do I need to go to a dermatologist? I think that in itself is a really good question. When should we start going?
So I think the AAD, the American Academy of Dermatology, recommends anyone over the age of 40 get an annual skin exam. I think that's probably a little overkill. I think maybe a baseline skin exam would be great, and then you can ask the doctor, do you need to be seen? Do I need to be seen every year, every few years? If I'm doing a lot of procedures, freezing sun damage or giving them creams for sun damage or biopsying things, then I'd like to see them more regularly. Yeah. If you have a family history of melanoma, like anybody, first-degree relative, like a sibling, your child, a parent, you want to be seen yearly because you have an increased risk of melanoma. So those are the, and when you get to the dermatologist, a lot of patients don't want to get into a gown. And I tell patients it's sort of like taking your car to the automotive, maintenance and not lifting the hood. Yep. We really need to see the skin.
Great point. Well, you know what? And you also speak, and you're looking at some pictures, by the way. Thank you, Zach, for putting all this content together for us as they get a chance to look. And it really is peace of mind, isn't it? Because people are scared to go to a doctor because they don't really want to be told something scary.
Right.
But you don't want something to get worse.
Yeah. And those are some of my favorite visits when I just reassure someone. You can see them take a deep breath and like, I've been so nervous about this. And then they can go, right. along with their lives.
So right now, as we are more aware, people are wearing sleeveless tops. They're wearing sundresses. They're out. They're taking their shirts off by the pool. They're wearing swimsuits, whatever. And they're starting to see things. What are we looking for when it comes to something to be worried about?
So any mole that's changing, sometimes it's hard to discern between a mole and a keratosis, which are just benign spots that pop up, and the most common thing that I see in clinic. So a changing mole, something that's growing in size, color, border, something that bleeds, a bleeding lesion on the face or the back that, with no trauma. Something that looks like a pimple but doesn't go away for 2 months. Anything that's there for 2 months that just doesn't seem, like it should be, I would like to see it. If it's a 2-week-old lesion, you might have a pimple. You might have a bug bite. So I'd like to give it at least, 6 to 8 weeks to declare itself.
Right. And again, it's that peace of mind. If it is something that's a little scary, it's the fact that you're there and that then she can take care of it. You don't want to keep that going. So yes, that was a good point. If somebody in your family has had skin cancer, to get these things checked. So yeah, I didn't know that. So from 40 on an annual. So I am well overdue. I told you, my husband and I are both going to be coming into you. He does more of the freak out mode. Do you see this more in men than women?
It varies. I see a lot of men being pushed into the clinic by their wives, or
we need to help them.
Yeah, for sure. But it varies. I would say definitely, I see more women in clinic. They're definitely more proactive, I think. After they're done taking care of their family, they finally get in to see me.
Oh, that's very true. Yeah. Yes. Got to take care of yourself first and foremost. Yeah. Okay, if you have any questions for our doctor, please just drop them in and I will let you know. Okay, let's see. I've always had thin hair and will be 70 later this year. Hold on, gotta put my glasses on. My hair is long and I'm wanting a new hairstyle and looking for a new stylist. Okay, hint, hint, that won't hurt the wallet too bad. Okay, however, my question, is there anything that will make my hair thicker? I already take biotin and vitamin D.
Yeah, I mean, I personally take minoxidil low dose. It's a very low dose blood pressure medicine. It's like a tenth of the dose that normally people would take for blood pressure. So I take that myself after having 3 kids and hitting menopause. I do that, and I've noticed a definite effect. And if you don't want to take an oral version, you can do a topical, like that compounded prescription we mentioned.
Okay. And Debbie, yes, I think you're talking about a hairstylist. I'm a stylist for clothes. My stylist is Sherry Anderson, and literally just had her soft opening for Sheer Sherry, but I don't know, she might break the bank for you. I'm sorry to say, but she is the best in St. Louis. Julie, however, saying that she has a couple stylists that won't hold you up on the price. So there, you can check with her. Okay, another quick break. Questions that you have for our good doctor, Dr. Sarah Jensen, Regional Dermatology, just officially kicking off our partnership today. And I love the questions that are coming in. We'll go more in depth when we return.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium My Pillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
Who doesn't love free? And those 3 pictures you saw on the bottom, those dog beds, I had a bunch of you that said that you bought those for your dogs. And I love the pictures. Maybe I should start that. I'll send those pictures to Beckett when we do the dog walking forecast. And I'll say, after they come back from their walk, they're going to love laying down on those beds. Yes, dog beds and the little dog throws. I've never seen my dog Adelaide just like curl up in a bed and just want to sit there forever. So they're obviously super, super comfortable for them as well. So try those out as you go to mypillow.com. And don't forget, again, put Monica Adams in as your promo code so you can do all those savings. Okay, Dr. Sarah Jensen brought something up that made me think about this. My sister-in-law asked a while back about a difference between a dermatologist and then is there a dermatologist that specializes, a gynecological dermatologist?
Oh, there are. In fact, I know one at the university, at St. Louis University. I used to work there before I went out on my own. So while all medical dermatologists will see kind of vulvar dermatology, oral, dermatology, we see overlap between, what urologists and gynecologists see. There are some who've kind of specialized in that area. So there are a few in our community, but any well-trained medical dermatologist should be able to also help with any vulvar needs.
Okay, and I know earlier Zach put a screen up, or a slide up on the screen talking about self-examinations and what we should be looking for. And that's one of the reasons I brought it up is that people are like, oh, look at my face or my back, and can't see my back. Can you look at my back? But we're looking on there, the torso, the arms, the buttocks, the legs, the back, the face, the scalp. A lot of times, when we're going and getting our hair done, and you probably kind of work hand in hand with a lot of stylists, don't you? That they're saying, hey, I think you should go to a dermatologist because I'm seeing this. Because we can't see in there.
Right. No, we definitely do. We see lots of, especially golfers, maybe who wear visors or runners, so not covering the crown of the head.
Important to put the hat on. Right. And ladies, we think it's a fashionable thing, but it really is great that we have those big rimmed hats. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing for us. And covering the ears up. Putting sunscreen on the ears
back
also,
of the
right?
neck. Yeah, for sure.
All those things to take care of yourself. Okay, so how to do a skin exam and what to look for while doing it. You said what to watch for. So many people came in to you after Jimmy Buffett died?
We did. We had a number of people coming in mentioning it, or a friend, or a relative, or coworker.
And
we get that a lot.
Merkel cell
carcinoma.
You want to explain what that is?
It's not as common as some of the skin cancers we see. We definitely see more basal cell, squamous cell, those sun-related skin cancers, melanoma. Merkel cell is really unfortunate. It's usually head or neck. Can be older gentlemen, in my experience, that have it. It's one of those. Maybe I've seen 2 in my 20-something career. Yeah. But when it is found, it has a high rate of metastasizing or going elsewhere in the body. So it is an unfortunate diagnosis.
Absolutely. So again, questions for Dr. Jensen, just let us know. You also offer cosmetic options as well as surgery for unwanted moles or lesions and for skin cancer.
We do, yeah. We see patients for cosmetic options. Like you said, some people will go to a medical spa for this, but dermatologists, plastic surgeons will do this. I do all my own cosmetic dermatology, so if you're coming in for a Botox or Dysport, those things, to relax the lines of movement, if you're trying to do a little filler, I try to kind of pride myself on making someone kind of enhancing their appearance, not making it look too, you shouldn't look like you've had stuff done, right? It should be very natural. So that's my approach. So I think I see maybe a clientele that's, around my age or older, just because they're not looking
25? She got beautiful skin, by the way. Can we go back to that just for a second, Zach? So he was showing Juvederm. Did you say, is it Dysport or
Dysport,
yeah,
right.
Restylane?
Right.
And Botox.
Yeah, all either fillers or neurotoxins to try to relax the muscles or to fill the areas that we've kind of lost over time.
So if someone has, and this is going to probably make you all laugh. I like to make you laugh also and make you think and educate you and make you cry sometimes. But for someone who has gone a little too far, how do we broach that subject?
It's tough. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah, they come in from other offices and, I think sometimes you get so overfilled you have to continue plumping and filling,
And it's never ending.
Right, and it's not something that I look forward to. So you can dissolve filler, but Botox or Dysport wears off. But the filler that's left behind, you can dissolve some of that and get back to a more natural appearance.
I just think sometimes I'm just like, gosh, you know what? I know people say, oh, I don't want to age gracefully. I don't want the wrinkles, whatever. And I get it. You want to feel comfortable in your own skin. But sometimes I just think they start and then it just gets overwhelming. And it's like, I started this, now I got to do more. I got to do more. And that's my only thing. And I have to stay in my lane and be like, I don't know. At some point, you're going to look in the mirror and realize you've gone too far.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. I tend to undertreat. We can always go back and add more, do more. But I try to keep it at a more natural aesthetic.
What would you say right now is probably one of the hottest things that, I guess I should say women and men, that they're asking for, that they're seeing that Hollywood elites are doing?
Oh, I think it would still be Botox or Dysport, and I think lips are big. And hopefully
Lips
not
are
too big. Hopefully not too big when they walk out of my door. No, I tend to have people coming back asking for more rather than try. We don't dissolve it. That's one thing.
Thankfully, we don't.
have to.
Oh, maybe it's still out there. Maybe I haven't seen it. But the pictures of the duck lips, I was just like, enough already. And then the young girls, the little teenagers doing it.
I see kids going to, my girls are going off to college, and I see some of these girls when they go off to college are getting their lips done. And so I'm hoping that trend will sort of fade. I am.
Yeah, enough with the duck lips.
Yeah.
That's a good point to bring up, though. So what is the age that someone can start doing that?
I mean, honestly, really, I guess they could start at any age. I see some women starting in their 20s doing, kind of preventative Botox or Dysport to try to just relax the lines that they develop. I don't think I see patients that young in my clinic. I probably see them more in their 40s, 50s, 60s.
But in order to start things like that, do they have to be a certain age?
I think here's when I see lines at rest, when I'm not smiling but I still have my crow's feet, or if I'm not frowning and I still have those 11s, that's when I think it's a good time to start.
Okay. But it is really interesting to see all over TikTok and Instagram and all these young girls in their early teens are like, oh, I need to start this. And again, I love the fact that they're into makeup, they're into all this beauty stuff, but it's almost a little overwhelming. And for me, it goes back to when I was a little girl and you would see, these models on magazine covers. And I'm like, well, that's not real. All this airbrushing, it does damage to the mental and spiritual side of a young girl. Right?
Oh, very much so. There's very much like body dysmorphism,
Absolutely.
watching that on social media. I think the main thing they could do is protect their skin from the sun. I see more people tanning, and that we all know. And my mother told me when I was, my daughter's age, to stay out of the sun. So
my mom, if she's watching, my mom was like, oh, I wasn't the best. She's like, when I was young, I used to have the aluminum foil all around us. I'm like, well, she's honest. She did it. Again, if you have any questions, I need to know what the doc said to take, spelled out. Okay, wait. I live in Warrenton. Don't drive very far, but would be willing to go to Lake St. Louis as long as it's easy to get to. Wentzville or Forrestal would be ideal. Oh, you're talking about the stylist. I think that's what she said. I need to know what the doc said to take.
Oh, for the hair thinning?
Why can't we embrace getting older? Debbie, let me know what you wanted her, because I know she wrote last week, and she's like, I'm older. I need to slow down so I can write things down. Debbie, what is it that you want her to spell out for you? Let us know what that is. Many folks want to know what basic skincare to use to start improving skin. Okay, let's break it down from 30s, 40s. What do we change as we get to the next decade?
I would say I sort of layer the products of my skin, and some patients ask, like, what do you do? So I start with a vitamin C serum. I think you can't start too early for that. It's antioxidant. It gives you a little bit more of a boost for your sunblock, so it's a very thin, coating to the skin. I then use my tretinoin or Retin-A.
Okay.
That works on fine lines, discoloration, so it's preventative. That's the medicine I mentioned for acne, but we also use it for cosmetic use.
Oh, okay.
And men and women both. Then I'll put either a moisturizing sunblock or a moisturizer and then my sunblock. So there's that kind of layered approach.
And we should start that at what age?
I think you could start probably in your 20s, maybe
20s?
18, 19, 20, yeah.
Okay. And so for those that do, if somebody like me doesn't want to do Botox and things like that, but they're like, I got these wrinkles on my forehead, or I've got the 1 or the 11s, is there anything we can do from skincare that we can use and start to use and use on a regular basis so we don't have to do fillers?
I would say the tretinoin and sunblock are the two most proven, to help. The tretinoin works on the kind of fine heathery lines under the eyes, also the sunspots we get, and the sunblock obviously protects from all that radiation. So the two together, I think, are key.
And sleep. really good rest, right?
Yeah.
Is important for us. Okay, so there are a lot of products out there, Dr. Jensen. So many products, so great marketing of use this. You'll have, you'll look 10 years younger in like a week, etc. Is it just a lot of marketing that's out there? Or are there products that you absolutely say, yes, start doing this?
I think there is a lot of hype out there, it's skin tightening and, regimens. I think the only thing I invest in is the tretinoin, my sunblock. And then as far as like soap and moisturizer, I think the basics are simple. Just CeraVe, Cetaphil, Dove, Neutrogena products. You don't have to spend a lot of money on those options,
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And then, so if we look from day to night, a basic skincare regimen, what should we be doing at nighttime and then first thing in the morning?
I honestly, the layering that I told you about, the vitamin C, tretinoin, sunblock, those are my key elements.
In the morning?
I do that in the morning.
Okay.
I also tell people, decide if you're a morning or evening person. I know I can get all that done in the morning, but I'll kind of schlep and not do it in the evening. But I definitely think at nighttime, cleansing the face of any makeup and debris from the day, and a good moisturizer is key.
And I'm going to stress that again. Do not go to bed with makeup on your face.
Right,
I don't care how tired you are, right?
Right.
Number one thing to say?
Yeah.
And why? Why is it so bad for us?
Well, you just don't want that, all those layers. You want your skin to be able to breathe some, just to get rid of some of the oils that are present in our makeup. And
then those makeup cloths that we buy, like Neutrogena or whatever, how are those?
I prefer just to use the cleanser and water because those makeup cloths have a high incidence of allergic contact dermatitis. So a reaction to the products, they have a lot of preservatives. If you think about it, they're kind of moist little towelettes in there. And in Missouri, those should probably mold if they're sitting out for a month or two. But there's a lot of preservative in there to keep them from molding or turning bad. So I try to not use the wipes. We see a lot of allergic rashes from those.
Oh, all right. I'm not going to use them anymore. That's what I wanted to know. I'll go and grab those. I'm like, oh, this feels like it's good. But then I also have had, I went up to like Ulta or something like that to get makeup, and this girl talked me into this thing, but she's like, no, this is great. And it's a huge bottle. She's like, it'll last forever, but it's oily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think that oil can take off some of the makeup, some of that waterproof makeup.
Yeah.
But I prefer kind of like a foaming cleanser.
Foaming cleanser.
Yeah, Cetaphil, CeraVe are two of my favorites.
Okay, see, this is why she's here for us. Okay. Oh, Debbie said, spelling out what she takes for thinning hair.
Okay, so it's minoxidil. It's MINOXIDIL.
There you go.
How was that for a spelling
bee? Yeah, and you can just kind of go, yeah, you just won the spelling bee. You can go back if you need to just rewind once this is done, and you can do that. Why can't we embrace getting older? Good. Exactly, right?
I think we should. I think there is a balance of that, right? Yep. So patients also will come in and ask things like, to fix something that really maybe can't be fixed fully. And I say, for that one thing that you see in the mirror or on a photograph, and it's the one thing you're focusing on, find 2 or 3 other things that you love about yourself, because you have to flip that dialogue.
I say it to all my life coaching clients, celebrate your wins.
Mm-hmm. And all ages, because I see it in my daughters, they're 17, 18, who are gorgeous, and they have this flaw. I look back at 2 or 3, 4 or 5 things that you love about yourself.
Absolutely. Well, and that, what? Look, you could life coach with me. One of the biggest things that I always say is look in the mirror, and then I don't know how many times women will say, I don't want to look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and say something that you love. Mm-hmm. Start with that self-love. Mm-hmm. That's where it all starts. There's so much self-hate out there, and if you're tearing yourself down, everybody else around you feels that, and they see that, and it's just as like this ripple effect that never is going to serve anybody well. So I'm going to force you, please, today, look in the mirror and say something kind about yourself. It all starts with that. So, yes, that's the biggest thing. I can't believe our hour is up already. So again, you're going to see this beautiful woman with us on Monday. So I know a lot of you have questions for her. Let's put it up on the screen one more time of the phone numbers, the hours of location, where they're located. Regional Dermatology South in Festus, Regional Dermatology West in Chesterfield. There are the phone numbers for you. You can go online as well to regionaldermatology.com to find out more and set up an appointment for yourself. I'll have one more question before we have to wrap up. Linda said, what strength of the blood pressure medicine? How will that affect your blood pressure? Mine's always good to slightly low.
Yeah, you could start at 1.25 milligrams to 2.5 milligrams a day. I would start on the lower end. I always tell patients they should run it by their primary doctor if they have other medicines that might interfere. But that's where I would start. 1.25 milligrams for about 3 months, and then follow up if we need to increase it.
Okay, and then Richard just said he agreed with, why can't we embrace getting older? Too many people are worried about how they look instead of how they act. What do I always say? To be kind. Okay, so at the end of every show, we do 100 days to freedom. What are you feeling today? Shame, depression, anger, overeating, or fear and anxiety?
Maybe fear and anxiety is
Okay.
a broad one.
That's a good one. All right, fear and anxiety, 100 days to freedom from Stephen Arterburn. That's how we'll wrap up when we return.
She's a special woman and done so much for St. Louis.
Watching her work is one of the most incredible things you can see.
She just sees value in everyone.
Sometimes people just need you to sit with them and hear them. I feel heard.
The time flew by, and it was like sitting and talking to a friend.
Not only creating a better place here in St. Louis, but to inspire others. It's always great to have examples like you.
You have such a light and such a presence, and I could feel it this morning.
We knew right away when you started this, we wanted to be on your show. Thanks for having us.
I look forward to seeing how you rock and roll and shake it up.
Yep, we're here to shake things up for you. I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Very educational. And continue to get those questions to me if you can in advance so that I can pass those along to Dr. Jensen before she comes in next Monday. info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. That's my email address. Okay, so Dr. Sarah picked 100 Days to Freedom from Fear and Anxiety. We're on day 36 of this one. Gifts from God. There's nothing better than to be happy and enjoy ourselves as long as we can. I just said self-love, right? And people should eat and drink and enjoy the fruits of their labor, for these are gifts from God. We look forward to celebrations, right? You think about going to a birthday, just had a bunch of graduations, weddings, reunions, to name a few. The joy of joining together on milestone occasions is like the highlight reel of our life. Remembering the look on the faces of those we love and how memories were made, it's such a treasure, is it not? There are other days in which we feel the strain of work, the shock of unwelcome news, the isolation of disconnection. Days like that can bring fear of the unknown, concern and worry over how to deal with challenges, and a feeling that God has left you in the dust. You know, when a number of these days get strung together, it feels like the parts of a movie that should have been left on the editing room floor. Each day is a gift from God. I'm going to say it again. Each day that you have breath in your lungs is a gift from God, with its beauty as well as its tasks and its challenges. Each trip around the sun offers promise. Life is precious, but how many of you take it for granted? A lot of us, right? Most days, assuming that the day ahead will be just like all the others before. A lot of people tell me when I life coach them that they feel like that they were born under a black cloud and it just never ever leaves them, and there's thunderstorms that are constantly around them. But what are you doing to cause it? Look at that. Is there toxicity and drama around you? Do you need to erase some of that? While that's true to some extent, some days are better than others, right? We are given the gift of today. Treasure this very second. Open each day like a gift to see what's inside and trust that God will provide what you need. I know a lot of you want me to finish the book I've been working on for a long, long time, and it's The Power of the Second. It's not the day, it's the second. And why did I say that? Because we're not promised the very next millisecond. Right now, we're all doing great. What could happen? You know, I've had story after story of cousins and good friends that were just talking to their loved one. They walk out of the room to get iced tea, came back, somebody had an aneurysm and was gone. The power of the second. Think about it. I just got to chill when I said that. C.S. Lewis, I always love these. Relying on God has to begin all over again, every day, as if nothing had yet been done. Beth Moore said, this is our time on the history line of God. This is it. What we will do with the one deep exhale of God on this earth. What is it? For we are but a vapor, and we have to make it count. We're on. Direct us, Lord, and get us on our feet. And Rick Warren says, what gives me the most hope every day is God's grace. Knowing that his grace is going to give me the strength for whatever I face, knowing that nothing is a surprise to God. Here's your prayer today. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Help me celebrate today's blessings and trust you with the challenges, knowing you are with me each minute. May my life bring you glory. Amen. You like that one today?
I really do.
That was a really good one. Fear and anxiety, by the way, is chosen a lot. I think a lot of people deal with that. But what we're trying to do with these books is to erase some of that for you. 100 Days to Freedom from Such great books from Stephen. Thank you. What a great kickoff. A lot of great questions from you as well, by the way. So keep those coming in. Next Monday, we'll be back. We'll look and see if there's anything on the day one topics that we wanted to discuss that we didn't get a chance to get into, but she's provided me a ton, and I'll sprinkle some of those out to you to let you know so you can tune in next Monday. Hope you have a beautiful day.
Thank you, you too.
And to you as well. Remember, go out, enjoy this weather, by the way. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous, starting to get a little warmer, a little more humid, and some storms coming as we get closer to the holiday. That's what Beckett told us. We'll have him midweek as we get into the holiday. And we hope to see you, by the way, on the 4th of July. We will be at Defiance Ridge Vineyards with Ruby Lee performing. 4 o'clock is when the doors will open. She'll perform from 7:30 to 9. And then the dual fireworks, leave it to the professionals. We don't want to get you injured. Remember what I always tell you, go out and spread the love of kindness. It's the greatest thing you can do. Be kind. God bless you all.